Hello, I'm Shannon Nelson, ADA Coordinator for the City of Vacaville and your host for this show. This time I'm talking with John Dollar, Vacaville resident and ADA Advisory Committee member, on an issue he faces daily here in the city. You may think that crossing the street is easy, but for John, it's a difficult and sometimes dangerous challenge he faces every day.
Yeah, I had, part of it is called myasthenia gravis. It's a disease of the immune system. The immune system doesn't really understand what's going on and it attacks the wrong thing. So it has, it destroys the muscle system and it's eventually terminal. That started about 8 or 9 years ago. And when it started, when it put me in this chair, I can get in and out of it by myself. And I can walk about 10 or 12 steps, maybe even 15. So I can get in and out of bed, you know, get to the dining room table and that kind of stuff. But I spend most of the time in this chair. In terms of limiting factors, I found that, frankly, Vacaville is the easiest place for me in this situation to live. The most limiting factor that I find is the intersections like this one here, where people don't pay any attention to you. You have the right-of-way, the walk sign is on, you enter the intersection, and then they come right around you, you see. So that's probably the biggest single limiting factor that I run into, and I think others in the same position have the same situations occur. Nearly getting run over is kind of dicey. And that happens with some degree of frequency. I'm out and about a lot, probably more than most people that are confined to a chair. Every day I make it my business to be out, get out, and consequently I've had times when 2 or 3 times in the same day at different intersections, but primarily this one, where it was a close call. People just don't pay attention. They're going across the intersection and here they go, boom, you know. So I'm as careful as I can be, but I can't tell the other person what to do, you know. When I come down to the intersection, you know, you got to press the button, you get the light. People are sitting there waiting to make a right turn while you want to cross the intersection, and they're all nervous. You can see that they can't hardly wait till the light changes, you know. And so I kind of watch them and give them a hand signal, and I'm edged out in right close to the curb, and light changes, I start out, and invariably, boom, car comes running right around anyway. And then the next one may say, you know, give you time. Going across, I've had people come behind me, in front of me, go across the street, and you got to be careful because traffic coming the other way, sometimes they don't stop prior to the limit line at the intersection. They want to run right into the intersection. You can't see them because of the traffic sitting there in that inside lane. So it's just, there's all kinds of little hazards involved that you wouldn't ordinarily think of, you know. But they're there and they happen all the time. I think the most important thing for them when they're at an intersection, there's waiting at the light, is to be conscious and aware of the pedestrians that are trying to cross the street. They don't, in some cases, I've seen people that are so courteous, I want to just take them home for dinner, you know. Other people, I want to send them straight to jail. I mean, they are just as discourteous, and I've had people give me the finger as I'm crossing the street. So it's just a case of there's no reason for it. Nobody's in such a big hurry that they got to run us down or get mad at us because we can't get across the street as fast as they want us to, you know. So that's just total rudeness and inconsiderateness on their part. The signs say that we have the right of way. Whether we're in a wheelchair, walking, pushing a baby buggy, doesn't matter. We have the right of way. But they don't want to give it in some instances. And that's where the danger exists. It's right up here in that driver's, he doesn't care about you, that's all. So please watch out for us. Be careful. And don't be so rude.
When a car and a pedestrian meet at an intersection, it can sometimes be a challenging and confusing situation for both the driver and the pedestrian. It's not always clear who has the right of way. Here's Officer Higbee from the Vacaville Police Department to talk about how to yield the right of way, whether you're a motorist or a pedestrian.
It's not as cut and dry as a lot of people believe. They believe that if a pedestrian enters a crosswalk, or a lot of pedestrians feel that if they enter the crosswalk that they have the right of way. Pedestrians have the right of way in some instances, in a lot of instances they don't. If they enter the crosswalk lawfully and they're already in the crosswalk, then they have the right of way. Other things that a pedestrian should look for, once they enter the crosswalk, they should not just be looking straight ahead until they cross the crosswalk. They need to continue looking left and right, being aware of motorists out there. Not only the right turn motorists, but straight through traffic motorists, people that are running red lights or making left turns from the other direction. So any dangers that are posed out there, the pedestrian needs to be aware of and take into account and be considerate of. A pedestrian needs to take into account his safety and the safety of the motoring public as well, and be considerate, be aware of the fact that the motorist has a green light as well, and make sure that if in fact he does step off the sidewalk and into the crosswalk, that he's doing it safely to where it's not going to interfere with the motorist as well. The top 3 or 4 things that a motorist should be considerate of when approaching an intersection are: number 1, safety. Very important that they take into account the safety as they approach the intersection. Number 2, they need to be patient. Be patient when they pull up there. Don't be in a hurry. Pull up there, lawfully stop at those painted white limit line crosswalks. And in order to lawfully stop, they need to stop prior to any portion of their vehicle crossing over that white painted line or limit line. Once they stop, they need to assess the intersection, make sure that there's no pedestrians within the crosswalk or approaching them from any direction, so that whatever movement they want to make while stopped at that intersection, they can complete it safely. If you're lawfully stopped and your light turns green and there's a pedestrian at the corner there that is also getting ready to move into the crosswalk lawfully, then you as a motorist need to stop and proceed when it's safe to do so. Once the pedestrian enters the crosswalk and continues across and is at a distance far enough away from you to where you can safely initiate and complete your turn, then you can by all means move in and complete your turn. The most important thing when both a pedestrian and motorist is at the crosswalk is they need to exercise patience and good common sense. They need to make sure, the two of them, both the driver and the pedestrian, that whatever actions either of them take is done safely to where it doesn't interfere or put anybody in jeopardy that's out there.
So as you can see, just crossing the street can be extremely dangerous. So the next time you come to an intersection, please be patient. You should never be in so much of a hurry that it costs someone their life. Remember, making Vacaville increasingly accessible can be done by all residents, including you. If you have any other questions or would like more information on ADA-related issues, give me a call at 449-5409 or email me, Shannon Nelson, at snelson@cityofvacaville.com. Thanks for watching.